Welcome to the GALvanize Who Not Do interview series, where we're taking a deep dive into who you are versus what you do. I'm joined today by a woman who not only excels in what she does as an NFL Network national correspondent, but thrives as a woman, mother, and more. Aditi Kinkhabwala, thank you so much for joining me today.
Gabi, rule number one for a reporter is to tell the truth. And there is no thriving in this house. There is only surviving.
But your survival, you just sell it like you're thriving.
I appreciate it. I'm glad that at least I'm faking it better than what reality is.
We've seen you on the sidelines, we've seen you on the screen, and now, like you said, we're seeing you in your home. And I've always thought that home is really where the heart is, so I've got to start there. How's your heart?
Full, overflowing. This is actually a conversation I had with one of my mentors, Andrea Kramer, last night about what is really in my heart. And I think it's very easy. And Laura Oakman is great at this. It's very easy to get wrapped up in all the work minutia and the work stuff. And something that I had said to Andrea last night is that when my baby crawls across the floor with an enormous smile on her face, I'm not sitting here thinking my baby is smiling at me. It's okay that work isn't going the way I want it to go. I'm only thinking my baby is smiling at me.
And I've always joked around as an auntie to 5 nephews, and we've always said that I have to be the first #girl mom of the family. So with you raising not only your adorable son and your brand new baby girl, what are both children teaching you?
The gender thing is so interesting because I have a little kid who I want to go to the school bus stop one day and say, my mommy kicks ass and takes names. Like, it's that much more important to me that my son know mommy can do anything that daddy can do, that my mommy is just as much of a badass as any man, and that we respect and value women. Now I have a daughter, and that's just on a whole different scale. And here we are. So it took a while, a premature baby, there are challenges associated with that for her and for us that are unlike a normal birth. It took her a little while to smile. My son, I brought him home and he smiled basically as soon as we brought him home. My daughter, apparently this is something that's fairly common with preemies. They're a little bit more serious. So I don't remember exactly how old she was. She's probably a few months old. And right here, actually, in this room, I had a mirror on the floor and I prop her up on this little boppy. And she was looking in the mirror and she smiled. And I captured this and I actually Instagrammed it because she was looking at herself and smiling at herself. And my caption was, may you always look at yourself and smile and not pick at these little imagined perceived slights. And I'm getting emotional saying this because we as women are constantly beating ourselves up. I just had this conversation with somebody about my nose, and he was like, you're the only person that talks about your nose. And my nose has been a thing for as long as I can remember looking at my face. And it's just, that's what we do to ourselves. We worry, is it my hair? Is it my nose? Is it my this? I just recorded a hit yesterday. And I messaged my desk contact and I said, oh my God, is my hair out of control? Why didn't I say, wow, every single thing I said was brilliant, go with it. It's just something we do. But now as I have a daughter, I can't help but think, I don't want her to ever do any of that. I want her to focus on the brilliance that's here, the magic that's here, and not all this other stuff. And I don't know, it's taken a step to get there. This is not who I was when I was 22 years old. This is not who I was when I was 26 years old. I don't know that this is exactly who I was last week.
Separate from the career aspects and things you've achieved there, what do you think 22-year-old you would say to you right now?
I think about, and this is a piece of my story that I have not shared a lot publicly, but between the birth of my son and the birth of my daughter, my husband and I suffered a lot of tragedy. And I spent a lot of time crying and moaning. And it ruled my life to some degree that I was not successfully carrying to term a second child. And I gave up and I immediately became pregnant with my beautiful little daughter. And it was sort of one of those, at some point you can worry yourself raw. You can worry yourself numb. And I do this all the time. So like, even as I sit here and I say this, Gabby, like I think about my career and my home, this renovation that has gone off the rails, and my children and how I will educate them. And I am such a tiger mom in some ways. You know, I do it all the time. I wish that I just had more faith that it's all going to work out. And what I would tell myself at 22 is it's all going to work out.
You know, I hope you also go easy on yourself. I was absolutely right in saying that you're thriving. So
I mean, that I definitely am not good at that. So I openly say, I'm not. I think it's that whole like Asian kid model where, you know, you're raised to be the best and achieve the most, and your parents better have you to brag about the most. It's funny because it's not even a political statement in saying this. But when Joe Biden announced Kamala Harris as his running mate, this is the daughter of immigrants. This is a daughter of an Indian immigrant and a Jamaican immigrant. And I am the American-born daughter of two Indian immigrants. And that just hit me. You know, like I remember being really young and asking my dad, why? Why'd you leave India? Why'd you come here? Why did you come be a student here? Why'd your family let you do that? My father is the only son. And in Indian culture, it is vitally important that the firstborn son take care of his parents. And my father was not only the firstborn son, but he was the only son. And he took care in that he sent money home, but he wasn't there. He didn't live with his parents. He came to America. And I remember being very young and asking, why were your parents okay with you doing this? And it's because he said, in America, hard work makes anything possible. And I see this daughter of a brilliant Indian woman who immigrated to be a cancer researcher, who raised her daughters by herself and taught them exactly that. And now this woman is a vice presidential candidate on a major party ticket. I think the idea here is that it's hard not to want to work so hard. It's hard to not want to be a credit to your community, a credit to your parents, a credit to your family.
My mother immigrated from Samoa, and we always used to jokingly say this, but it became very real of just, people know you're my kid. Like wherever you go, whatever, and it was all the aunties, all the, you know, Samoan adage, so to say, don't quote me on it because that's not a very real thing, but
sure,
people know you're my kid, and that pressure. And I think I can't thank you enough for being as vulnerable and open with that, because like you said, you are putting on for people, and in that ideal of you chasing something, a lot of us are looking to you, and we're so proud and so excited to be following that legacy.
Well, you know, Gabby, it's funny because actually Juju Smith-Schuster, who is also Samoan, he and I have had this conversation. Right now, we're at a time where we are talking about things that kind of distinguish us, but in so many ways, so many of us are so similar. And we have been our cultures are similar, our values are similar, our experiences of feeling alone, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter what your background is, feeling other. That is something that you can feel based on the color of your skin, on your ethnicity, your religion, your orientation, your career path. I mean, who hasn't at some point felt other in some way? So when you say this, you know, I often joke with my mom about this because my mom was a badass. She was working at NASA. She was getting her PhD in physics at Columbia. And then a week before I was born, she quit it all and said, my most important legacy will be my children. I was raised to be the best, but I was also raised by a woman who said, my children are my most important legacy. So I've had many of those conversations where my best, or what I am aiming for, is not necessarily the same thing as somebody else. I want to make sure that when my son goes to kindergarten for the first time, I'm the one who drops him off and I'm the one who greets him when he comes home. Now that means that there may be certain opportunity that's not available to me. And that sucks, quite frankly. Like, that's sad. But you know what? We all have to make choices to some degree. And we have to figure out what matters to us most. For me, I do think that perspective and balance matter. I'm not great at always recognizing it, but as I sit here and talk to you, the way those kids smile at me, Mike Tomlin smiling at me doesn't do that for me. Sorry, no offense, Coach Tomlin.
And I think that is just the whole heart of why we're doing this Who Not Do series. You know, you can push to excel in so many things, but I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share this part of your who with us, to share that vulnerability, and whether or not on the good days, bad days, you feel it, you really do, it shines. And we can see that, and I appreciate you so much.
Well, I tremendously appreciate this project. I love, 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 love Laura Oakman. I just think that she is one of these shining beacons in this entire industry. I am so fortunate to call her a friend. Gabby, you call me anytime.